So, welcome back to the next video in the super fun page Oauth login video series extraordinaire. We are now at the point where we have got like Oauth starting to work over here. Okay, so remember the basic gist of Oauth is that this is a system that we register. We do a one-time register so that you, the web server creator, can extend the platform of something else. So you do a one-time registration. You get an ID and a password. This is for your app, and you give a redirect URI to the server. You tell them this location, and this is where this Ion or whatever your Oauth server is going to redirect people back to. We're using Express over here, and I'm using the simple Oauth 2 package. I've got my ID and my secret that I configured over there in my main control panel, and I have my redirect URI over here. This is some sort of secret endpoint that we've got, and this is going to help to process that code that gets generated when the user logs in. So when the user lands on the page, or before actually even the user lands on the page, we generate some URI. This is going to be the link that the user is going to need to click on to go to authenticate. So when they want to authenticate on Oauth and come back to my page, this is going to be the link. I'm going to keep it as a global variable. In this case, I'm calling it authorization URI. And when the user lands on my page, we're gonna send them there. So let's talk about app.get, my default landing point for the default landing point over here. Doing something a little bit different this time. I'm starting to ask some questions. I'm asking the question, is there a key named authenticated in rec.session? Now, remember what rec.session was? The session was the state of the user's experience as managed by some sort of Express session handler. I'm using cookie session, which stores the entire session state inside of a cookie, and that cookie gets passed back and forth, and we'll have all the session variables that are embedded into a key named snorkels, and snorkels shall be encrypted with these highly secret keys that no one will ever guess. When the user lands on the page, right, so we're going to be presented with this conditional clause. Now, I would imagine that the very first time somebody lands at the page, authenticated is not going to be in rec.session. The only way for authenticated to be in rec.session, in particular, to be in a rec.session that's named snorkels and encrypted with these ridiculously unhackable keys, the only way for that to be there is for you to be careless, or to for me to put it there. Careless would mean like calling this, your key something very predictable and leaving these encryption keys like unencrypted. So anyway, the user's going to land on this page, and they are not, authenticated is not going to be there. We have not put it there yet. Like, let's just trust this. We have not put it there. And we can sort of verify this by going over, if I go into user.tj, okay, great. I'm here. Here I am at this website. I can even take a look at my cookies, and remember how we look at the cookies over here. We look at the application. The cookies for this particular page, they're not there. No cookies, just not there. So we went into here. We went into the else statement, and we're res.rendering. We're rendering the unverified link. So we're saying, okay, here, render this page. Remember, render unverified.hps, and we're going to pass in this link. And that link, it's the key. The key is login link. The value is this link that helps people log in over here. So the user is going to go over here, and they're going to click on this guy, and they're going to be directed off to Ion, remember. And remember, it has our ID. This ID should look familiar. That ID is the one that we originally set up over inside of here, and this was passed by the Oauth package. That guy is not a secret. This is a secret. Oops, not Sublime. So we're going to click on this, and this is going to send us off to Ion. If I were not logged in, I would be asked to log in. I am logged in. Super fun, highly credible, looking for authorization. Sure, why not? Well, here we go. Hello. You have successfully logged into this. This is different, right? This is different from the previous video. I did not see myself go to login worker over here. I did not see that happen. I'm on the same page right now as I was before, and I'm kind of curious why my cookies aren't showing up over here, because I think they kind of should be. I've successfully logged into the super fun page. Let's figure out why this has actually happened. Why I'm getting a different message than were I to go over to an incognito tab where I don't have these cookies, and I see like I'm asked something different, right? Same endpoint, different result. So this means that my login worked. Let's talk about why this login actually worked. So what happened? The user went to this unverified link. The unverified link, as presented, took them off to Ion. They came back. They were passed a code. That code was teased out, and we converted that code into a token. Okay, that token was created via this process over here, where after the code was given, my server verified itself to Ion by passing it its secret and the code, and it converted it into a token for that particular user. So this access token is part of this server token.token.access token. I attached it to a local variable within res, and I passed him along the chain, called next, move on to my anonymous function over here, and I said, okay, hey, authenticated was true. I set a variable, so login worker set this authenticated variable to true, and it set my token to rec.session.token equals res.locals.token. So right now, rec.session, so my session variable contains this object. And furthermore, the session variable contains an object named authenticated. So what I could presumably do, if we go back over into this page where it says I'm logged in, if I keep reloading this page, I'm no longer asked to log in. I have a cookie named Snorkels, okay? And Snorkels is session data. And inside of this session data in Snorkels is a key named authenticated. And my default landing page is asking if authenticated is inside of there. And if authenticated is inside of there, he has been instructed to render this verified page over here. Hello, user. Well, user is not really defined. This is why we're seeing just hello. But that's a proxy for more, like personal information later on. You've successfully logged into the super fun page. Well, that's fantastic. So how do I log out of the super fun page? Right now, we don't really have a way to log out of the super fun page, but there is something that I could do. I could delete this cookie, right? And if I delete these cookies, or the signature or the cookie itself, doesn't really make a difference, rec.session is now gone. When I land on the page, or when I go back to my user page over here, and I send the cookies, there are no cookies to send. Like every outgoing request contains the cookies associated with the page, no cookies to send. So because there were no cookies to send, the page was right back to the page that was generated, did not find authenticated. And so it asked that user to log in over here, right? And so when we logged in, the login asked us again over here, and we said authorize. And then we sort of we're seamlessly getting back to this page. And we're getting closer to the right way to do things now. Everything up to this point has been, discussions of how the mechanisms work, but we're attaching this stuff to the session, so we know who the user actually is, and then we redirect them. The user does not need to see this page with login worker. They do not need to see that giant, crazy code. In fact, they shouldn't. What they should do is you should do your cleaning up. I'm calling this guy a worker because he's in the background. He does his workings. He attaches his information that he needs to process information back at the normal page or wherever, and I redirect back to over here, and we get to see verified users again. And we'll start querying some personal information in the next video.